Call from mom. Answer it. Call silenced.
Instacart knows nothing gets between you and the game. That's why they make ordering from your couch easy. Stock up today and get all your groceries for the week delivered in as fast as 30 minutes without missing a minute of the game.
You have 47 new voicemails.
Download the app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply. Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
Celebrate and save at Ashley's Anniversary Sale. With Hot Buys, your choice of colors starting at just $3.99. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $2.50. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases. And shop top mattress brands like Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and Beautyrest Black with 60-month special financing. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery may be required. See store for details.
It's wild, it's wacky, it's slick, it's savvy, it's the Madcap Daffy, fracture, ding-a-ling, ring-a-ding, loony, zany, side-splitting, rib-tickling, slap-happy, scuzzy, dreary, irksome, tedious, banal, pointless, smutty world of...
The Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
Let's be real. I'm all about being real. Well, I mean, I'm real all the time.
Dynamic, isn't it?
Jeff Lutz.
Let's be real.
Me likey.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting, Max Power producing and engineering. Got another full show for you. Got a game coming up at the top of hour number 2. And we'll be talking to a couple of coaches who are in big games over at the National Men's Junior College Tournament in Hutchinson. Tommy DeSalm will join us at 2:45. His Hutchinson Blue Dragons are taking on Chipola tonight at 7:15. And then tomorrow, Barton County has a date with Northwest Florida State. That one coming up at noon tomorrow. So still 2 teams alive in the tournament. Cowley was ousted last night by Northwest Florida.
Yeah, we could have had a Cowley-Barton matchup, but
Cowley the only team to beat Barton.
Yeah, so who knows?
You didn't know that.
I saw it on their schedule yesterday.
You didn't know it?
Maybe, or I didn't.
Yeah, you don't take credit. You know what I would have said in that situation? Oh, really? That's incredible, huh?
I don't know if it's incredible.
Well, I mean that's.
I mean, I've heard of teams having one loss before, but it's a nice little tidbit you offered up for us.
That is a nice tidbit, and we'll talk with Barton coach Jeremy Coombs coming up at 3:25. Our first guest today at 2:25, Bernie Miklasz from St. Louis. What radio station's he with over there?
He's not KMOX.
Not anymore.
He's not St. Louis Post-Dispatch?
No.
I don't know what Bernie's doing then. That's kind of your realm.
I read everything the man writes.
STL Today, is he on that?
He's not with them anymore.
Was that a thing?
Well, he was a St. Louis Post-Dispatch sports columnist for decades.
I understand.
And big news out of the Cardinals today.
You're happy.
Well, I'm not happy that Dylan Carlson got hurt, but because he had a pretty good spring, especially the last couple weeks. But I'm excited that Victor Scott III is going to make his Cardinals debut at Chavez Ravine tomorrow afternoon against the Dodgers. Now, is he going to tear it up from the get-go? I don't know. but he's going to be a star. I will predict that.
Well, he's got a lot of tools. He's fast. He can hit a little bit. He's got
Tremendous
some
defensive
pop.
outfielder.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy watching him, I'm sure. I hope he doesn't turn into Miles Straw for you.
He won't be Miles Straw.
I don't think so.
You saw Victor Scott enough here in Wichita last year. I saw him play 3 games, and that's all it took.
Of course, he's really good. That league had a lot of fun center fielders to watch. He was among them. The Class A kid from the Mariners organization was among them.
Well, his road to center field is kind of blocked in that organization.
A little bit, but he'll play somewhere, I'm sure. Anyway, Victor Scott, I'm glad you get
so
to
we'll talk to Bernie. Am I pumped about the Cardinals? Yeah, because listen.
Now you are.
No, I was pumped. You can't not be going into a season. It defeats the purpose. I look forward to baseball season all year.
Of course.
The winter is the longest thing you can imagine. Didn't used to be like that, man. I used to be really, well, when I worked at the Eagle, basketball consumed me for those months. And I used to be consumed by basketball as a kid just as much as I was baseball. But the older I've gotten, it's kind of become baseball clearly 1, basketball clearly 2, but on another level. And then football clearly 3, but on another level.
I get it.
So it's kind of way up here for baseball, kind of here for basketball, and down here for football. I still care about all of them, but baseball drives
I'm with
me.
you. I'm right there.
Are you optimistic?
More for I want to see what comes together this year. The team constructed as it is right now is a 500-ish team, maybe one way or the other.
That's how I feel about the
depending on-
Cardinals.
But if DeLauder and Manzardo come up and do things,
Boy,
and,
they better, or you're going to be
and then you have the number 1 pick.
you're going to be ruined.
I mean, you could add 3 legitimate power plus hit tool bats to your lineup over the course of a year. So
What
I
if-
hope, or
What
6
if
months.
2 of them don't pan out?
Well, then they are behind the 8 ball by quite a bit, and that will set back the franchise. But we'll see.
We will see.
They're not going to be hopeless, and they're not going to be amazing. Yet.
You throw in the caveat.
Right.
So I just got the poll up from yesterday on our Bob Seger songs. Right now it's tied, but we're very early. I just put that up before the
What
show.
happened to yesterday doing it?
I forgot.
Oh, well.
I got a lot going on, man.
I get it.
You care to know?
Not really.
See, that's the thing.
See, no, don't do that, because if I asked you, you would say, it doesn't matter.
You don't care
And
to
then
know.
you'd yell at me for asking. So I'm gonna say I don't care.
You don't care to know.
Well, then tell me.
No.
Exactly.
Uh,
So that's why I don't.
I don't know where I got this part of me that I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You know what it was? If you want to know what it was.
The way you were raised, I'm sure somehow.
Yeah, and I'm not complaining about the way I was raised, but I was raised to kind of just be in solitude a lot. Now I went out and played with my friends. I was around. Don't take me wrong, but I was alone a lot, and I did a lot of thinking, and I did a lot of introspection, even as a young kid. So I don't like sharing a whole lot.
What's the point
I feel
of
threatened.
what's the point of introspection?
'Cause
then?
you'll
What do you feel?
You'll I don't have the I lack the trust to be able to be forthcoming.
That's funny.
What's funny about that?
It's just funny.
Why? Why is that
'Cause
funny?
Because it's a trait that I share. It's unfortunate. Be better. But it's too late
Well,
now.
I try to be better with those in my life who I trust.
Who do you trust? Clearly not me.
Misty. She knows everything. Right?
Why don't you trust me?
I trust you?
But do you?
I trust Debbie.
But do you?
80%.
Exactly.
Well, that's a pretty good percentage.
But I know in certain moments it could go way down depending on how you feel.
Here's the reaction from my wife, who is the best person I've ever known, that I have trouble dealing with. Hey, honey, we got a nice donation today in League 42. Blah blah. Here's the bid. Oh my God, that's great. I don't know. I can't. That effusiveness. While I appreciate it, I don't know.
Well, you need to pick a lane then.
There's
'Cause
so many lanes.
You get on me for my lack of effusiveness. You can't also feel negatively about someone's over.
Well, I'm effusive when my wife has good news, but I'm not so.
How do you do that?
Man, that's really good, honey. Good job.
Man, you see, you kind of couch it. You cushion it.
Nice work. It's just, it's all over the place. It's such
Why is that such a vulnerability, do you think?
I don't
Just
really,
being able to say.
the best thing about my marriage now is that I don't feel couched, or I don't feel restrained nearly like I have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, because I adore my wife.
Of course.
And
no one's questioning that.
And yeah, we do well.
But why can't I say when my wife cooks something, this is great?
Well, I don't
Why
know.
does
That's
that sound-
that's a problem with you.
No, you couldn't do it either, I'm sure.
Oh, of course I could. To make my wife feel good about something, yes.
But I usually say it's good, pretty good, it's fine. That to me feels like effusiveness.
No, it's not.
Even to that
it's
level.
Not. If you were to say to her, "This is really good," I'd like to
I
have
have
this.
before. I'm not
I'd
saying
like
it's
to have this again sometime.
never coming out of my mouth.
That would mean a lot.
I know. But so why is there vulnerability with that?
Well, there shouldn't be with your wife.
You feel vulnerable when you give compliments. You feel more vulnerable when you get them.
I don't feel as vulnerable when I give compliments. I'm fine with that. I can't do the job I have
I know, but
with
that's
League 42 unless I'm completely on board with giving compliments and feeling comfortable giving.
that feels more like of a professional setting where you give compliments. Anybody can do that. I can throw around compliments to my coworkers all day because there are no
I
stakes.
compliment my wife.
Good.
I compliment Misty.
Well, who wouldn't?
I compliment you when warranted.
I compliment my cats. Does that count?
No.
I compliment Aaron. I give Aaron a lot of love.
Do you?
I try to. I was feeling not great about that yesterday.
Well, then that must mean you don't do it very well.
No, I just it's like you get to she's 17, she'll be in high school for another month and a half basically, and it's over. Her childhood is now over. She's going to leave the house, and you reflect on, did I do enough? Was I there enough? Did I create
well, you'll
enough?
always reflect on that.
And I don't know. It was tough. It was a tough internal conversation that I had with myself.
Well, you should have tough internal conversations with yourself.
Yeah, you didn't notice that when I got here yesterday, I had been crying for the previous 10 minutes.
Why?
Because I'm just sad about it. There's stuff like I feel like, did I do enough? And I feel like it's over. How do you recapture
Never
it?
over.
Her childhood is. This part of her life is over.
Yeah, but that
And
you
it's
did.
sad.
I don't recall being sad about your childhood being over.
Well, I'm sad about it. Happy for her, elated, over the moon for her, and ready to
Well, you're going to have an
support
empty
her.
nest syndrome. You're going to, you and your wife are both going to struggle with that.
See, this is the only way I can feel like having another kid is okay. It felt like
Dude, you're 70.
having another kid was doing a disservice to Aaron. Like, that's just how I felt. I know it's not
May I
necessarily the
repeat my
case.
line?
Do whatever you want.
Dude, you're 70?
Yeah, I'd rather start over than raise two at a time. You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Just
But
feels
whatever you want to do. I mean, I'll be the oldest grandfather in history by that time. But that's okay, whatever.
do what you got to do.
We'll deal with it when and if it happens. Not holding my breath.
Well, we'll deal with it, like you said. But I just always wanted, if I'm going to have another kid, I'd just rather have another Aaron.
Well,
So
that's
I already
not going to happen.
So I already have Aaron, so why do I need another kid?
I don't understand it.
But now that Aaron is leaving, I just really like Aaron. I don't know.
Well, see, you can't control what kid you have.
Well,
That's for sure.
Hit the jackpot.
Trust me on that one.
As did you.
Oh, boy, do I know that one.
You hit the jackpot as well.
Let me tell you.
So congratulations.
I understand that.
Your parents, jackpot? Not necessarily, but they went
My
home.
dad was
They went home
so
with a
happy.
nickel or two.
And I wasn't the best son, particularly from the time I was 15 until I was 25.
25?
Yeah.
Get your stuff together, man.
I was a, rabble rouser. But then he got 6 good years out of me.
There you go. That's all you could ask for. And apparently the 14.
You asked why the Cardinals are such a big deal? Because that's the one thing we could always talk about.
Well, that's the
It
same.
didn't matter what was
the same
going
with
on.
us.
Nah, we can't talk about the Cardinals.
Baseball.
Don't talk about it.
Talk about the Cardinals.
Nah, I don't want to talk to you about the
All right.
Cardinals. You left us.
Can I give you an update on Hall of Fame Friday?
Sure. What do you have?
It's not going well.
Who turned you down
Mike
now?
Schmidt turned us down. At least he responded, though. I'll give him credit. My man Clyde Drexler has not responded. Today, because I can only text one a day, because if 2 reply at the same time, I'm in trouble. Today, I text Mitch Richmond. No response.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. These guys probably don't
Want to come
like
on the
to
radio?
do a lot of media anymore.
Sure. I get it.
I don't know that I'd want to do media. Speaking of media, the statue theft happened just over 2 months ago now, and it's amazing the legs it has. I did a 30-minute interview today with a reporter from the Washington Post, so I have that in common with Kim Mulkey.
What is Kim Mulkey didn't do the interview.
I understand that.
What,
just play along, okay?
What was this? I mean, because you can't just, hey, the statue. What's the larger picture
He
angle?
wanted to. His angle is more about the relationship that League 42 has with Jackie Robinson, and the relationship I had with John Parsons,
All right.
sculptor.
That's beautiful.
So I look forward to seeing his work, which will be published sometime in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow. He's going full tilt on this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a long piece.
Interesting.
Isn't that amazing? ESPN's putting out their piece right around Jackie Robinson Day on their website, ESPN.com.
What's that story about? Just same thing,
That's
kind
about
of?
League 42 and the statue, and
Who's writing that one?
Anthony Oliveri, I believe is his last name.
All right.
But he spent 3 days, parts of 3 days, 2 full days in Wichita. And so that story will be out on ESPN.com within the next 3 weeks.
Around April 15th or so. Beautiful. And the suspect made his first court appearance last week.
I didn't see that.
I don't remember I think it just got waived as something, just got extended.
Well, we hope
On to the next thing.
we hope that there's more arrests and in the near future, and see what happens. It's been an interesting couple of months, that's for sure. So I don't even have. It's all been a blur in some ways, and it's still happening.
Is the league planning anything for Jackie Robinson Day?
We're going to do some things. We're going to honor the coaches who helped resuscitate one of our players who collapsed on the field last week. That's going to be one of the things we do. And as to what else we're going to do, I don't know yet. We are going to play an exhibition game on the 13th, a week from this Saturday at 11 a.m. Then we're going to have a gathering at the Jackie Pavilion at 1 o'clock for anyone who wants to come out. We're going to ask our kids for their thoughts on Jackie Robinson. If they can create a bit of artwork or whatever, we're just gonna hang out and talk about Jackie, and hopefully a warmer day than the last time we did it.
Yeah, that was rough, but it's all good.
And then sometime in August, we'll unveil the new statue, and that will be an event that we think will be attended by a lot of different people, including folks from Major League Baseball. So all that's in the works.
Can't wait.
You going to be there for that?
I'm sure I will, as long as I'm not official scoring somewhere.
Well, I'd hope you'd turn down the official scoring gig that evening.
Well, it depends on the day.
Well, I don't know. I don't exactly know the day yet. First week or so of August. And I would hope that you tell those folks that I'll be back.
They get it.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So figure it out. By the way, the Wind Surge opens a week from Friday.
That's outstanding.
At Riverfront Stadium, I'll be there to accept, speaking of the support we've been getting, I'll be there to accept $10,000 checks from not only the Wind Surge and Diamond Sports, but also the Minnesota Twins.
That's outstanding, too.
It is outstanding.
Look forward to all that. I can't wait for baseball.
What would you pay
back.
for a Bobby Witt signed jersey?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what I do with it afterwards.
What would you do with it after?
Well, I can't say that out loud.
Ah, come on.
I know we've got Royals people out there. Let's say a Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, what would you give for a Jose Ramirez signed jersey?
I would probably go in the $300 to $400 range.
That's it?
That's what I could pay. I'm not going to probably pay any more than that.
Goodness. All right.
You think I'm just rich?
Well, we'll see.
Get
All
one.
right. When we come back, we're going to talk Cardinals. And I don't care if you Royals fans say, if you turn your nose up at that and say, why are they talking Cardinals? Because I want to.
We've talked to a lot of Royals.
We have talked a lot
and
of
we'll
Royals.
continue to talk Royals.
But I want to talk to Bernie Miklasz, who I've known forever, about the Cardinals and see what his thoughts are as they prepare for 4 games against the Dodgers this weekend in L.A. Back in a minute.
Your fever is high and the pressure to log in at work is too. But when you finally decide to take care of you, there's Instacart. Just because that one perfect coworker of yours is attending all meetings, camera on while she's sneezing, coughing, and aching, doesn't mean you have to do the same. Take it from us. Trying to stay on top of things will only get you further behind. Instead, get everything from tissues and teas to cough suppressants and comforting soups delivered through Instacart in as fast as 30 minutes. If anyone needs anything, they can just redirect their questions to that one perfect coworker of yours.
Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
Celebrate and save at Ashley's Anniversary Sale. With Hot Buys, your choice of colors starting at just $3.99. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $2.50. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases. And shop top mattress brands like Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and Beautyrest Black with 60-month special financing. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery may be required. See store for details.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Here's a music aficionado, Bernie Miklasz, joining us from St. Louis. We're going to talk a little Cardinals. Bernie, welcome.
Good to be with you again, Bob, and Bob's son.
That's me. Here I am.
We do appreciate it,
Lutz
Bernie,
family.
of course.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
KFNS, his radio station in St. Louis. They start their show here at 3 o'clock. So, Bernie, I read everything you write about the Cardinals. I've been a fan, as you know, for a long, long time. Today we learn of Dylan Carlson going on the IL. He'll be replaced by Victor Scott III, and I think Victor Scott is destined to be a great Cardinal. But the Cardinals, in my opinion, go into this season with very few sure things, and I like sure things. Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree. I probably feel better about, or maybe I should say, maybe I feel more confident in their offense than perhaps you do. But no, they've got a lot to prove, and talk doesn't do it. I mean, they say in the off season, they said this, they said that. They're going to work on this. They're going to improve that. They're going to go to spring training, and they're going to work on having a better clubhouse. The attitude's great. The vibe's great. Everything's positive. And that's all fine. I understand the need to say that in a way, but they got to prove it on the field. And there's still a lot of questions with them. I do think the offense will come through, but we all wonder about starting pitching. I think they're going to get a lot more innings from that group. And I think there's a lot of value in innings. I think the bullpen will be fine, but it won't be fine if Helsley can't pitch enough, or Gallegos is as bad as he was last year. Then it's a different story. That's what we're talking about. And the thing that I've been harping on for going back to last year, and I've never let up on it. I mean, seriously, I'm like obsessed with it, but for a good reason. They have got to have a good defense behind this pitching staff. I mean, they undercut. Listen, I'm not trying to say the Cardinals pitchers were good last year. They weren't. But this horrible defense undercut them all season long. That just simply cannot happen again. So I hope they're telling the truth when they say they're determined to improve this defense this year. Time will tell.
So an injury among the position players, Dylan Carlson, could lead to an upgrade if Victor Scott is as advertised and performs well to start the season. An injury to the pitching staff, Sonny Gray, obviously there's not going to be an upgrade from that. They go into this season with, I would say, 5 guys who probably their peak is league average. Is that fair, or do you think they have a higher ceiling than that?
Well, it's my theory on it is a little. I don't think it's convoluted, but it's. I just kind of I kind of look at it in a different way, because I'm a numbers nerd, and I'm always doing research. And the fact is, when the Cardinals have gotten 6 innings or more from a starter in a game, their winning percentage is exceptional. And that doesn't even matter. I'm not even taking into account how many runs they allow in those 6 innings. Just by going deeper into games, they have more of a chance to win. And factually and statistically, it shows that they win at a high percentage when they get 6 innings. And so they have a rotation that's more capable of delivering that, much more capable if they all stay healthy. And the one stat, I'll just give you one brief stat on that. When the Cardinals last season, and we all know how horrible they were, but when they got 6 innings or more from a starter, they were 10 games over 500. When they didn't get 6 innings, they were 30 games below 500. Think about that difference, right? So I think the innings capability is much higher, and I do think that'll make a difference. But, even better if you pitch well, that there's some quality in those innings too. But again, that's another reason why the defense is a must. They got to play better defense.
Longtime St. Louis sports commentator Bernie Miklasz is our guest. And before I ask you my baseball question, Bernie, I know you're a Baltimore guy, and the bridge collapsing. Tell us, boy, that was scary. That is scary stuff. I would imagine you have some experience on that bridge.
Oh yeah. Listen. First of all, my wife told me. I have my phone set to get alerts from like the Washington Post, and there's always alerts. And so sometimes I just don't pay attention to them. Well, my wife told me this, really early this morning. She said, in Baltimore, some big ship like ran into a bridge and it collapsed. And I said, well, what bridge? And she told me she didn't know. And I found out it was the Key Bridge, of course. And yeah, I mean, I crossed over to and fro that bridge many, 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 many times. My brother and his wife live 5 minutes away from the Key Bridge, and his wife, who works at Johns Hopkins Hospital, she used that bridge every workday to go to work and to come back home from work. And so they're stunned. Everyone there's stunned. I'm at a long distance from there, but I'm stunned too. I really, what a horrible, horrible tragedy. And how does that even happen? I mean, how do you ram a bridge? I mean, it's bewildering, and it's just a tragic loss of life that was completely avoidable. It seems to me. Thanks for asking, man. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, well, back to baseball, a happier topic. You mentioned the offense, and I too have hopes, but I know it's spring training, Bernie, but am I crazy to be concerned about Paul Goldschmidt because he has had an atrocious spring training, coming off a down year for him. What are you to make of it?
Well, it's kind of my historical position is to just discard most, not all, but most spring training stats. I mean, if somebody's trying to make the club and they got something to prove and there's a competition, well, they need to put up some numbers. He doesn't really need to. Now, that said, to your point, yeah, I would have liked to have seen him get some hits. It does raise a little concern. We'll find out once they start playing real ball, but I think everybody would be feeling more comfortable if he had kind of a normal spring training. It didn't have to be great, but just kind of a normal spring training. So there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on that. And, that's baseball. That's the way it is, whether we think spring training is important or not. Because he was going to go into the final year of his contract with something to prove anyway. I mean, even though he hit the ball as hard as ever last year, his numbers were down. I think there was some bad luck involved. But, he's got a lot on the line. This is a huge year for him, and he's obviously very important to the Cardinals.
Isn't that ultimately what matters? I guess I'll reframe the question and say, what do you think the Cardinals most use to evaluate players? Because now, even in spring training, it doesn't necessarily have to be about numbers. If you're hitting the ball hard and you have good exit velocities and all these numbers that people look at, is that more important now to the Cardinals than it has been, do you think? How heavily into analytics are they?
Yeah, I think they're getting better. I think they let that area slide. Bill DeWitt, to his credit, long time ago, he was ahead of the curve, when he brought in Jeff Luhnow to kind of set up a new way of evaluating talent and putting a roster together, and it was a smashing success. So Bill DeWitt had some real foresight. But unfortunately, like so many things that apply to the organization, they were so successful for a long time, and nobody should forget that. I mean, I have a lot of respect for what they've done in 28 years he's owned the team. It's pretty extraordinary. However, they got set in their ways. They let things lapse. They didn't adjust. They didn't adapt, and they fell behind. And that's the only thing about this that makes me a little mad is that they could have done a better job of staying on top of things. And they let that model just get stale, and so they paid the price for that last season, just pretty much every area. But they've used analytics, and I think they're going to try to incorporate it even more, and particularly on the pitching side. That's where they really fell behind, and I think that's a dang shame because the Cardinals' strength for many years was drafting, developing their own pitching, and they've been really successful at it. And that just dried up over the last few years, and that's why they were in such desperate straits. They had to go out and get 2 starting pitchers at the deadline in 21. They had to do it again in 22, and then last season the whole thing just crashed. And if they had if they still had a very productive pitching program where they're bringing really good pitchers to the major leagues on a consistent basis, none of that would have happened. But they lost their way with that, and I think that's like the number from an organizational standpoint. I think that's their number one challenge. They've got to get that pitching production line in their own system. They got to get that working again, and that's where I think Chaim Bloom can make a huge difference. The long time with Tampa Bay, then Boston, and he got a raw deal in Boston, but he's really smart when it comes to pitching. I think he had a lot to do with some of the moves they made, to strengthen their bullpen this offseason. So they're going to try. I think they finally woke up and said, wow, we really let this thing slide. We got to make changes. So they're starting to do that. We'll just see how fast they can do it.
Paul Goldschmidt doubled in his first at bat against the Cubs today, so forget everything I said. I'm back on board.
He heard you. He heard you.
So before we let you go, Bernie, the Cardinals have a really difficult April schedule. 24 of their first 26 games are against teams that were in the playoffs last year. What do they have to do in this brutal schedule to appease the fan base and allow people not to throw their hands up and give up hope?
There's a lot of anger here. You probably know that. I mean, it's amazing. People are just really frustrated and ticked off, and there's almost like this fatalistic attitude. People, the Cardinals just kind of, upset everybody's world last year because they were so horrible. And it's almost like there's an assumption that everything they do is not good enough. And so we'll see. I look at, all right, if we're talking about the first month or so, I think, I'm not settling for this. I'm not saying like, oh, okay, well, if they finish 500, that's great. I'm not saying that, but at minimum, I'd like to see them at 500. But I also did a little historical study a couple of weeks ago, and some of the best teams they've had got off to slow starts. So that's the beauty of baseball. You got 162 games to prove yourself. Like all teams during the course of the season are going to have brutal stretches of schedule. Every single team in the big leagues. It's just the Cardinals. One of the most brutal parts of the schedule just comes right away, so that puts some pressure on them. But they'll especially if the NL Central is going to be as wide open as so many people think. Even if they slip early, they'll have time to recover. So, but I think I kind of look at it a different way as well. If I'm a Cardinals player or have anything to do with that team, I would crave this opportunity because everybody knows, because we all write about it and talk about it. Oh man, the schedule's tough. Boy, they could be for a terrible April or whatever. They know what's being said, and if I were them, man, it'd be the greatest way to start a season is basically to shut us all up, right? And they don't need motivation, but there's a little extra fire can help. So they ought to use this as an opportunity to right away show, that season's gone. It's in the trash. It's in history. We're not that team anymore. So I look at it as, hey, it's an opportunity. Take advantage of it if you can.
Bernie, good insight. As always, we appreciate it. You got your show starting there in St. Louis in about 20 minutes. Thanks so much. It's always good to talk with you.
Well, listen, anytime you can call on me more frequently. We'll next time we'll talk about how great Victor Scott II is, because they don't have a player like him. He should have been on the team even before the injury. He really should have. So I'm
a really exciting player.
He really,
Thanks,
really
Bernie.
is. So you take care, Bob.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bernie Miklasz, KFNS St. Louis, also does a lot of work on the Danny Mac site. You can get that if you let me figure that out here. scoopswithdannymac.com. And you can read his St. Louis-oriented stuff, as I do.
Yes, you do.
Tommy DeSalm joins us. He is the head men's basketball coach at Hutchinson Community College. They continue play tonight in the National Junior College Tournament in Hutch against Chipola at 7:15. Tommy, welcome.
Thank you, Bob. How are you guys?
We're doing well. So the first thing I want to ask you, when I reached out to you earlier, you said you were practicing today in McPherson. Why are you practicing in McPherson?
We stay in McPherson, so they make anybody that qualifies for
gotcha.
it. You have to stay, and so it's actually really good for us. We get to actually leave town for the first time in a while. So we're staying in McPherson and practicing there at the McPherson College. They've been nice to let us use their gym, so it's like our little home away from home as long as we keep winning.
Good deal.
So, Coach, I was just noticing, I was looking up the past champions of this tournament, and the past 10 years there have been 10 different champions. Since 2010, only one team has repeated. Is there a reason for that? Do you think it's just because it's such a quick turnaround, 2 years, it's hard to maybe build something that could last a little bit longer? Are there more good teams now? What do you kind of attribute that to?
I think the parity at our level is it's just like anywhere else. I mean, I think the D1 level, there's the talent is spread out more and more. I think there's probably 80 to 100 schools that really make basketball a priority at the JUCO level, and you probably can get down to some blue bloods out of that, but every year there's somebody else that pops up. I just think, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, the level, there's not a disparity between teams as much as there used to be, and I think the level of players is getting better at the JUCO level just ever since the portal has kind of started with NCAA. That our kids, yes, we have kids that are getting recruited, but it's not like it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We're kind of the last go around on recruiting for a lot of teams, where D1s they'll recruit D2s before they come to JUCO anymore, but that starts even at the high school level. And so I think the level of talent at the JUCO level is picking back up to where it was 20, 25 years ago, and there's a lot of kids out there that can play, and I just think the level of talent is being dispersed at a lot of different places, and a lot of teams that really care about basketball at this level.
Tommy DeSalm, our guest, head coach at Hutchinson Community College. So I always like looking at your stats because you're such an offensive-minded coach.
We're a little different
is averaging. Yeah, a little bit different. It's not quite as offensive, but still averaging 87.4 points per game.
Right.
And one thing I noticed in looking at your stats, also the Barton stats, and even the Cali stats, so much balance on your team, so much scoring balance on this Hutch team.
Yeah, that's what I'd rather have every year, is that you can't just key on one player, and that's very similar of all three of our teams. I think we're a team that we really got banged up early in the year, and we're not playing as fast as I'd like for us to play. We have 11 active guys, and we're 11. All 11 can go out there and help us. But it's just been a strange year where I think we're a really good team that's had a great year, but like a Barton is a great team that's had a great year, and Cali's kind of like us, a really good team that had a great year, and so we've had to overcome, like all teams do, but we've just had so many injuries and sicknesses and things like that I think I can count on two hands the number of times that we've had a full squad to practice with since Christmas. So this team's really overcome a lot, and we're going to get really tested tonight. Chipola is another blue blood in this level, and they play a certain style themselves that we really haven't seen a bunch of. And defensively, they're real comparable to Barton County. Barton County this year is probably the best half-court defensive team that I've that I've seen in the Jayhawk Conference in a long time, and that's what makes them really, really special. And Chapola's got a lot of that in them, and they've got some dudes. So we're going to have to. We need a lot of prayers tonight. I was looking, you're a baseball guy, Bob. I was hoping for maybe a rain delay at some spots. Maybe the sprinklers will come on or something, but I know our guys are excited.
You need another day is what you're saying.
I don't know about that, but we got to do, sometimes 18 and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds, but they don't always listen and do at the very best. And if we can listen and do tonight, we'll have a chance to be in it at the end, and I'm excited for that. We've played a real tough schedule, and I just hope we can. It's kind of like you just got to stay in it early, and then take some body blows early, because they're a real physical team, and they play a matchup zone that we just haven't seen, and you can't emulate it very well in a one-day turnaround. And so you hope you can just stay in there and make a few shots, just like anybody. If you can make a few shots and settle you down, then maybe you have a great chance. But I'm excited to play it.
So you mentioned some injuries, and you have a bunch of guys who have played a lot, but you have one guy who started and played every game, which is Valentino Simon. He's one of your leading scorers. He is your leading rebounder. What has he meant to your team just to provide kind of that steadiness? And obviously he's played very well too.
Yeah, he is. He's probably our oldest. He's our only guy that kind of still had a year left with the COVID year, and so he's an older kid. He's real mature, great student, great individual, great leader for us. And he is. He's kind of old school, where he's great at the high post area, and that's kind of what we kind of formulated our offense at Christmas, making some changes around him. He's great at the old pinch post around the free throw line, and he's great at making those 15. He's an in-between player, but we count on him a lot, and there's a reason why he's started every game, because he may be our most important guy. We just got through with shoot-around, and how you're going to have to handle that zone. He's going to be kind of our quarterback in the middle of Chapola's zone, and he's a good decision maker for being a 6'6", 6'7" kid. He doesn't get too speeded up, and so we put a lot on his plate, and he kind of he was a little tired and run down a little bit in the region tournament, but we gave him a few days off. I call him the grandpa of the team, and he's had a great week, and I'm excited to see him play. But he is just, what I love about him is not really the basketball things. It's more what a quality human being he is, and he deserves all of his success. I mean, he's a great student. He's a really good basketball player. He'll be on somebody's D1 roster next year.
Final moments here with Tommy DeSalm, the head coach at Hutchinson Community College. Again, they're in action this evening over in Hutch against Chipola, 7:15 tip. So lots of time to get over there. So when Hutch makes the tournament and it's held in your building at the sports arena, it's got to be really a proud time for you, your players, your program, your community. This is, you probably don't want this time to go away, do you?
No, it's what it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's an awesome opportunity every year, but it's not like they give us a spot, and you have to earn that spot by the way you play, and there's some pressure on that, and your team kind of feels it, because you're meant to go to that national tournament if you're a Hutchinson Blue Dragon, and there's some pressure that goes along with that during the season. But I think once we get over that, and you walk into the arena, yesterday was our first game in the arena, and it's decked out differently. It's not like a normal home game, and the atmosphere was electric yesterday. We had 3 straight Jayhawk games playing, us leading off, and then Barton played, and then Cali played. Man, it was packed house, but I think that's why when we go recruiting, we talk about it. Hey, this is where they play the national tournament. This is the Madison Square Garden of JUCO basketball. I mean, there's so much history, the number of players that have played here, the great coaches that have coached not only at Hutch but in this tournament. It's real special, and it was funny to watch our guys go out there, because they were nervous Nellies in the first 2 media timeouts, and then they finally settled down. But it is an honor, and it's. I know you guys have probably been over here. It's such a cool tournament, and it's an old school tournament. There's only 24 teams, and it's tough to get here, and it's tough to stay and keep winning here, and hopefully we can find a way to get a W tonight.
Are there still, Tommy, the level of D1 coaches that show up? There was a time when, as I told Jeff yesterday, it was a who's who. They would come in between their games in the NCAA tournament just to be there.
Absolutely.
Does that still happen as much?
Better this year than I've seen in the last 8 to 10, and that's because I think they moved it back a week, the tournament. And I think it was a lot of people at first were like, why are we doing this? I think it's the best decision they've made in a long time, because it's just say, on Sunday was that they moved a day up, but we moved it back a week, but we started a day early. Usually it started on a Monday and it was started on a Sunday, but it was I think it opened the door for a lot more coaches to come, because most of the teams that were even in the NCAA tournament, it was almost down to the Sweet 16. I saw more here yesterday. So I think it opens the door easier for getting coaches here. It's been much more received at a high level this year. And I think that, again, goes with, I think the level of talent is getting better at the JUCO level again. But moving it back a week, I think, has helped just with the logistics of getting coaches here.
Well, best of luck tonight. I don't need to tell you, Chipola, as you mentioned, is one of the junior college blue bloods, but so is Hutch. Should be quite a game. Good luck tonight.
Point. But I may text you if we're down like 10 early. I'll text you maybe for some sort of fire alarm issue or something, so we can get a little timeout.
You won't. You'll fight back from it, Tommy. Being down 10 early is nothing.
That's nothing.
Take care. Thank you.
You guys, I appreciate you guys having us on. Thank you.
You bet. Tommy DeSalm from Hutchinson Community College. All right, time for a break. We got a game we're going to play shortly when we come back. The Bob and Jeff Show, KFH.
Celebrate and save at Ashley's Anniversary Sale. With Hot Buys, your choice of colors starting at just $3.99. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $2.50. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases. And shop top mattress brands like Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and Beautyrest Black with 60-month special financing. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery may be required. See store for details.
Why?
If you have T-Mobile 5G home internet, you might be hearing this a lot.
Why?
Every time your internet slows down during the busiest hours.
Why?
Because your network gives priority to cell phone users.
Why?
Good question. Why not switch to Cox Internet with 2 times faster download speeds than T-Mobile 5G home internet during peak hours?
Okay.
Stop the whys and visit cox.com/5G home for details. T-Mobile prioritizes certain T-Mobile phone users over home internet users during times of congestion.
We all agree that reducing carbon emissions is a good thing. And once again, Toyota is leading the way. We hear a lot about fully electric vehicles, and Toyota has them with more on the way. But we also know a BEV is not for everyone. Whether it's because of cost, range, or concern about finding a charging station when you need it. Plus, the raw materials used to manufacture batteries are limited. Enter Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future. In vehicles and in manufacturing plants, too, in the years ahead. The materials used to make just one long-range battery for an EV could be used to make batteries for 6 plug-in hybrids or 90 gas-electric hybrids. That's why Toyota's position today is electrified, diversified, empowering you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint with the vehicle that's right for you. A hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or battery EV. So shop, learn more, and get details at toyota.com/beyondzero. Toyota, let's go places.